Hello, brave, beautiful, beloved soul friends. Welcome to another Conversations with Kristin, that beautiful time of your day where you explore the unconscious mind from the inside out. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here, soul friends. Thank you for creating space in your life to connect with me and my content. It is a blessed honor to share sacred healing wisdom with you all. These topics are really, really important. And I'm really, really grateful for this chance to share some stuff with you guys. Okay, so thank you for being here, and thank you for being you. This video is for beloved soul friends who might be in an abusive, manipulative, or harmful relationship. And there's a little bit of confusion about what's really going on. Maybe a part of you feels like you deserve better and you want to leave the relationship, and then a part of you feels like you can't. And maybe you don't know why you feel like you can't, but you feel like you just can't. Like you're there and logically you understand maybe that relationship's not the best. Whether it's a dating relationship or a friendship or a living situation with certain housemates or staying in contact with a certain family member, whatever it might be, there might be some form of harm within it, whether it's emotional or verbal or physical. There might be some kind of pain going on in that relationship. And there's this logical part of you that might understand, like, this isn't good for me, and maybe there could be something different in my life, but there's not this ability to move through to make different choices so that the relationship is not a dominant feature of your life, okay? So I want to kind of explain what's happening in your unconscious mind to provide some neurobiological insights about what's happening. And then from that space, a little healing journey trick that you can kind of start to practice so that you have more power in your life. And moving forward, you have more ability to choose the energetic direction of how your story unfolds. Okay? So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. I am so proud of your tender courage. Just wanting to explore potential healing options is beautiful. So thank you, truly, thank you for being here. Okay, so let's explore this. So, firstly, the main thing, 80% of everyday choices, big and small, stem from implicit procedural memories. Which means that when you go through your days and your moments, you open up the refrigerator and you go to get something to eat, at most 20% of that choice is coming from what you're consciously deciding in that moment. At most 20%. 80% of the way you go about making choices has to do with the unconscious wiring of implicit procedural memories in your brainstem and your upper thalamus, okay? So up front in your brain, you've got what you can consciously get to. That conscious choice is up here in the front. Implicit procedural memories are back here. Opposite parts of the brain. They literally don't connect directly. This part of your brain doesn't know about what's back here. They're both being engaged, but this is not aware of this. Okay? So at most, everyday choices involve 20% of conscious logicality in what you're intentionally, mindfully, consciously choosing in moments. 80% of decision making comes from implicit procedural memories, which are stored way back here. So when they're being activated, you don't know about it. When you open the refrigerator and choose a snack, or choose what to eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever, you think you're in the moment and you're making a choice. But that's not the truth. 80% of the way you go about those decisions has to do with the unconscious wiring of implicit procedural memories that are being activated beyond your awareness. Okay? So, in our subconscious realms, we've got our memory systems, and then below that, meaning that they're more unconscious than the most unconscious of memory systems, are attachment systems. And attachment systems house energetic vibrations of love, vibrating at frequencies from high to low, depending on how much love is within those vibrations. And those vibrations are regarding the fulfillment of attachment needs. And so there's 4 attachment systems, and each system has their own needs. And these are all referring to my pyramid of personhood and liberated consciousness diagram. And you can actually grab those for free, the pyramid of personhood, and then a little part of the liberated consciousness diagram about attachment systems. You can learn all about this for free at kristinwindsor.com/gifts. So this is specifically referencing these diagrams of consciousness I've created, and it really, really, really helps with understanding the human experience from the inside out. It helps us understand who we are, why we're experiencing life the way that we are, how neurobiological wiring affects experiences of consciousness, all of this kind of stuff, okay? So please feel free to grab that, kristinwindsor.com/gifts. That link is also here in the video description below. Okay, so when we go about our decision making in moments, like if you're walking from point A to point B and there's 2 different routes, maybe you walk around this way or you walk around this way, the way that you go about choosing that decision has more to do with the unconscious wiring of your implicit procedural memory systems than what you're choosing in that moment. Okay, and then beneath, less conscious than, more unconscious than, those implicit unconscious memory systems are attachment systems, and they hold abstract energetic vibrations of love based on the fulfillment of attachment needs. And attachment systems are the baseline of all subconscious data. So the way that memory data gets stored and filed away depends on the vibration of attachment systems based on the fulfillment of internal needs. Okay, so the fulfillment of attachment systems in any given moment affects the way that experiential elements of that moment become processed and stored as pieces of memory data. Attachment systems also connect subconscious realms and unconscious states, or the unconscious mind and the unconscious body. And so the way that memory systems affect regulatory capacities of the body, for example, directly depends on the well-being of attachment systems. So attachment systems play a really big role in this stuff, to say the least, okay? So what's happening? If you are in some kind of situation or relationship that maybe isn't the best, and maybe a part of you knows that, but a part of you really doesn't see an alternate route of experience. What's happening is there are implicit procedural memories carrying action patterns based on how to seek satiation of attachment needs. Okay? So let me walk you through this process so that you understand your unconscious mind. Because I know there can be a lot that comes up in these situations. Maybe other people are casting judgment on your situation. Maybe you are casting judgment on your situation. Maybe you are afraid of being powerless in your situation. Regardless of what's happening, it's important to understand the core causalities of these personal experiences so that you have more power to move through them, because you always have power and the experience never defines you. Okay, beloveds, so let me walk you through this so that you can understand what's happening in your unconscious mind. Okay, you with me? You with me, soul friends? With me? Grooving along in explorations of the unconscious mind. Da da da. Okay, so we have these attachment needs. The way that memory data gets filed stores action patterns regarding how to help fulfill attachment needs or avoid them being unmet or survive them being unfulfilled. So you can kind of imagine like this spectrum, and then over here you've got fulfillment of attachment needs unconditionally. Like you don't need a particular experience to be fulfilled in your needs. You fulfill them for yourself. And then here you've got the conditional fulfillment of attachment needs. And so certain styles of experience help to relieve internal needs or fulfill internal needs temporarily. And then over here, okay, so you got this option and you got this option. And then here you've got how to avoid attachment needs not being fulfilled. And then here you've got how to survive the complete unfulfillment of attachment needs. Okay, so you've got these 4 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you with me so far? You got these 4 options. Okay, so depending on the vibrational frequency of love in attachment system data, pieces of experience get processed into memory data in one of these categories. Okay, so if there is unconditional fulfillment of attachment need, subconscious data vibrates at really high frequencies and everything gets super well connected, and then neurobiological information provides consciousness with a lot of options. And consciousness, a completely distinct and separate component from neurobiological data, then has all these different options and choices and pieces of insight while moving through experience. Because here's the thing, memory systems don't care about the past. Neurobiologically speaking, memory systems only exist to help us navigate current moments and project potentials of moments. Memory systems are how we navigate through life. They have nothing to do with what's already happened. Memories are not about the past. Okay? So when memory gets stored, when moments of experience get stored as memory data, it's stored in a way that is designed to help us in present and future moments. It's not stored in a way that helps us remember the past. That's not how it actually goes. And memories are all about association. So it's all these little separate pieces of stuff that have these connective relationships with one another. That's how memory works. It's not like one whole moment is here categorized in like a linear conceptuality. It's these abstract vibrational pieces that have different styles of connectivity. Okay, and that's called coupling of memory pieces data. That's another topic for another time. Okay, so got these 4 options, right? Depending on attachment needs, data vibrates at certain frequencies. When attachment needs are fulfilled, data vibrates at really high frequencies, gives consciousness a lot of power. When attachment needs are conditionally fulfilled, then data still vibrates at a high frequency, but not quite as high, and this initiates automated protocols of approach. And so that 80% of decision making that stems from implicit procedural memories, a lot of those procedural memories are the rudders of approach and avoidance. That's quoting Peter Levine, 2015, in his book about trauma and memory. And so they're the rudders of approach and avoidance. And so when we move through life, we're constantly approaching or avoiding something. Like if you walk through a kitchen and you see a piece of cake on the counter, you are presented with this option about whether to approach or avoid the slice of cake. Once you receive that stimulus, your brain goes through an automated process determining whether to approach or avoid the cake. When someone you know walks by, you possess some form of an instinctive choice regarding whether to approach them and say hello or whether to avoid them and not be seen by them. All of these different things, every choice, every moment of life involves, you're always approaching something or avoiding something. That's where all of our choices stem from. So it's all coming from these implicit procedural memories, these activations of unconscious memory systems. Okay? You with me so far? You with me so far, friends? Okay. So when our attachment needs are fulfilled through a form of experience, it implements a protocol, a program to approach that source of experience. And then 80% of decision making is coming from activation of that program, which is trying to help fulfill attachment needs. So when we are approaching a person or staying in a relationship that might not be the best for us, it's because of the activation of unconscious, implicit, and procedural memories that have an action pattern related to the fulfillment of an attachment need. And so when you are in a relationship that might not be the best, or any situation that might not be the best, but you don't know how to leave it. Like maybe you keep trying and you say you will, but then you don't, or you leave and you come back, or whatever it might be. It's because of the unconscious activation of implicit procedural memories housing an action pattern of approach due to the styles in which some vibrational element of a conditional experience is fulfilling one or more of your internal attachment needs. And that's why you can't get out. Because neurobiological wiring. Okay? But the good news is that neurobiology can always, 100% of the time, unconditionally, be rewired. Through the conscious directing of your energy, you already possess infinite power and limitless potential to rewire any part of your neurobiology. Okay? So although you might not feel a choice in this moment, you can in the future if you rewire the neurobiology that's creating these automated patterns of choice. Okay? All right, so moving along this little spectrum here of vibrational data, when there's an experiential element that reduces the fulfillment of attachment need, satiation, then there's an action pattern of avoidance. And so if your unconscious mind feels that leaving the relationship could harm the well-being of attachment systems, the automated implicit action patterns are going to guide you to avoid leaving the relationship. So then you're not just approaching the relationship, your mind, your unconscious mind, is trying to avoid leaving the relationship. It's like this double whammy. You're like, approaching it, avoid leaving, I'm stuck right here. I can't, you know what I mean? Okay? And then over here at the far end of the spectrum, when an attachment need is completely unfulfilled, there's a survival response. Okay? Survival response, and that's where we get into some other kind of stuff like trauma responses and neurobiological dysregulation and such. But we're going to stick here in the approach avoidance implicit action pattern protocols. Okay, so if you are in a relationship and you know that it might not be the best for you, but you don't know how to leave it, and that could look like anything. It could look like literally anything. Maybe you're living with someone and you feel like you just have nowhere to go. Maybe it's a friendship and there's a part of you that just knows that they're not beneficial for your life, but you can't not call them or text them or respond to them or reach out to them. It's because of implicit procedural memories that are trying to help you fulfill attachment needs. Okay, so you literally are not in control of 80% of your choices. So this helps bring validation to these experiences. This helps bring insight into what's neurobiologically happening behind stuff. Because it's easy to look at the outside things and be like, well, obviously this is a harmful relationship. The logical choice is to leave. But things are not that simple. Things are not that simple, and I get that. Things are not that simple, and I get that. Because there's more going on in our neurobiological applications of consciousness than people talk about. People don't talk about the 80% of decision-making stemming from activation of implicit procedural memories, housing data regarding how to unconsciously fulfill unmet attachment needs. But maybe we should be talking about this a little bit more. So thank you for being here, soul friends. So this brings validation and insight into what's happening, okay? So like, shoot dang, so these choices are unconscious. What now, right? What now? If the choices are literally happening unconsciously, then where is the power? Where is the power? If there's not power in 80% of the decision making, where is the power? Okay, so let me give you a little brief insight, and then if you'd like to explore some of my other content that has more details about this stuff, there's a variety of videos here on my YouTube channel. There's a variety of free healing journey resources that could really help with where you're at right now. Those can be found at kristinwindsor.com/gifts. There's lots of tools for recognizing clues of consciousness from attachment systems, rewiring your brain's neural networks in some simple, easy steps, helping to heal your neurobiological wiring through self-love. There's all kinds of stuff there, so please feel free to grab that. Okay, and then if you'd ever like to connect one-on-one through a consciousness consulting call, I can step in and serve as a healing journey guide to help empower you forward. because you are worthy of loving liberation. Every part of you deserves a great, big, beautiful, expansive life, and that begins inside of you. This stuff out here only happens the way it does because of how stuff in here is allowing us to move through things. And so once we do the stuff in here, then all of that stuff gets better. Long story short. So if you'd ever like to connect one-on-one through a consciousness consulting call, I would be so honored to serve along your healing journey through life. You can find out more about who I am and what I do, or go ahead and schedule a one-on-one session with me at kristinwindsor.com. And that link is here in the video description below as well. So, what can we do? Where's the power if there is no control, right? We never have control, but we always have power, and that's an important thing to distinguish. So maybe you don't have control over your decisions in this moment. That's okay. You can validate why that's happening, and you can shift your focus towards your power. Because if you focus on your power, then eventually you'll have more influence over these decisions that are right now occurring unconsciously. So when we fulfill our attachment needs, all of the other data in the unconscious mind and unconscious body heal, transform, rewire, reconstruct, and they become empowered from the inside out. So you don't need to look for the memory data. It'd be tricky to do anyway because it's all unconscious, implicit procedural action patterns, and there are ways to go about doing that, but I have an easier way, so that's good. I have a much easier way to heal, so that's super good. So you don't need to go in and find the memory, find what memory is causing this. You don't have to do that to heal. You don't have to do that because that memory is stored on top of attachment system data, and attachment systems do not house particulars. So if there was a moment of an unfulfilled attachment need 20 years ago, and there's this memory that has this action pattern that's affecting your decisions now, you don't need to go back to that experience or the particulars of that memory data to heal it. Because attachment systems just hold abstract energetic vibrations. There's no specifics. It's not, I felt unsafe when this happened. That's a memory piece. That's a piece of memory data. Attachment systems are present tense, I don't feel safe. And so when we take energetic steps to vibrationally meet our unfulfilled attachment needs in the present, and allowing our observational self to be there for our parts of consciousness, when we meet our attachment needs in the here and now for all parts of ourself, then all of the associated memory data slowly transforms. And so, if you can identify the attachment need that is being fulfilled through your experience, or simply take steps to be there for all parts of yourself with all attachment needs, you can actually help your neurobiological wiring have more choice regarding your current relationship status and the well-being of the way that you move through life by pouring love into your consciousness and neurobiology. When you love yourself in a way that vibrationally meets unfulfilled attachment needs within neurobiological data by grounding in your observational self, the beacon building, I call it, the beacon building of your brain, and the beacon building of your being. When your observational self can be there for your parts of consciousness or parts of your self-essence within life experience through the neurobiological applications of this miraculous vessel and create energetic vibrational experiences of love. That's the really important part. It's all about the vibration. Okay? So for example, if you walk up to someone and you're like, hey, I love you. Cool. All right, bye. That holds a very different energetic vibration than, hey, you're amazing. I love you. I love you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. Okay? Could you feel that? Could you feel the energetic difference between that first option and that second option? So meeting attachment needs is all about creating energetic vibrations of love. It doesn't matter what we do, it matters how it makes our inner experiencer feel. Okay? It doesn't matter what we do, it matters how it makes our inner experiencer feel, which is great because that means the sky's the limit. There's a million different ways that you could take steps in your everyday life to help meet unfulfilled attachment needs. When you start to meet these needs for yourself, your neurobiological wiring shifts so that your attachments are no longer hooked to experience, they're hooked on yourself, and then you have more choice. Right now, there's an attachment that's hooked to this relationship. Okay, you can picture it as being like, here's your like being, and you got these vibrations inside of you, and there's literally an energetic hook that is in this relationship, or in this person, or in this experience. And you're like, oh, I need to separate myself, but I literally cannot. So what you're going to do is take the attachment hook out of that person or relationship or experience and place that hook inside of your own being. You're going to get hooked on you instead of hooked on the experience. You're going to fulfill your attachment needs so that this experience is not where the fulfillment is coming from. And once your attachment needs are being met by you instead of the relationship that you're in, you will have power to leave that relationship if you want to. And you'll have more clarity in your thought processes. You'll have more clarity in the way that you feel about yourself and this other person. Things only feel cloudy and confusing because an attachment is hooked there. And so a part of your neurobiology says, this isn't good for me. But then more of your neurobiology says, but I need this. I need this to survive. But once you meet your attachment needs for yourself, the hook is no longer out there, and so you're not connected with it, so you have a choice. And then maybe you decide you do want to stay, but at least it's your choice. At least then you're choosing it, and you're not being forced by automated activations of unconscious memory systems, okay? And then, you know, if it's something that you want to leave, then you have the power to do that because the unconscious memories influencing 80% of your choices, big and small, is in support of you unconditionally and not in the support of the relationship because it feels like that's necessary for survival. Okay? Does that make sense for you guys? All right, so just to bring it all together, beloved soul friends, thank you so much for being here, my darling sacred beings. If you are in some kind of harmful situation, an abusive or manipulative relationship, you're not crazy for staying in it. I know that's a very common misconception. It's coming from a very, very, very valid place of neurobiological wiring, beloveds. The neurobiological wiring of your brainstem and upper thalamus are fighting for you. But you want them to work with you instead of working against you, okay? And so we can help this inside of ourselves by meeting unfulfilled attachment needs, because when we do that, we reprogram the implicit procedural memories that are causing these patterns of approach and avoidance. Once we fulfill attachment needs for ourselves, we have more power in our decision making. Right now, attachments might be hooked to the relationship, and you literally cannot choose something different because 80% of where your decision making are coming from say that you need this to survive. Once you meet attachment needs for yourself, that hook is no longer there, and then you have a choice whether to stay or leave. Loving yourself can help rewire the neurobiological data that is affecting your decision making. And choices big and small. What you choose for breakfast, where you live, the relationship you're in, who you call, what you say. It's all stemming from unconscious memory systems. And those heal so that we have more power in our beings and our lives, our identity and our experience when we meet attachment needs for ourselves. And that's all through energetic vibrations of love. It doesn't matter what we do to fulfill the attachment needs. It only ever matters how it makes our inner experiencer feel, which means there's a lot of options for how to go about doing that. And again, please feel free to explore more of my free content. There's lots of goodness out there to provide healing journey aid and empowerment for you. You can find more videos at youtube.com/Kristin Chronicles, and you can find a variety of free downloads. There's so many super magical, super helpful downloads for you guys. KristinWindsor.com/gifts. And if you'd ever like to connect one-on-one and dive deeper in a more personal way, I would be truly, truly deeply honored to serve as a healing journey guide for you. And you can schedule a session with me, or if you want to explore more about who I am and what I do, you can visit KristinWindsor.com, and that link is here in the video description below. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. I'm really, really proud of you for exploring these topics, and I'm really grateful for your presence here on planet Earth. Thank you for being here, beloveds, and thank you for being you. Namaste, soul friends. The love and light in my miraculous consciousness sees and honors the love and light in your miraculous consciousness. I'm sending you so much love and light, beloveds. You're not in this alone, and you are worth more than you know. Have a beautiful and blessed day and a glorious healing journey week. And I will see you next time, soul friends. And if you liked hanging out, if you learned something new, if you want to just spread some love and positivity in the world, please feel free to like and subscribe in this magical video and YouTube channel goodness. I really do appreciate your support on my channel as I share my healing journey messages. Thank you again for being here, beloveds, and I'll catch you in my next video.